But right now, the president's signature is needed to send out the next phase of relief. Congress has passed nearly $500 billion in coronavirus spending to help employers and hospitals. Steve?
Sam, News 4 is investigating the relief that Congress is doling out. While millions of Americans struggle, the first round of stimulus money included $10 billion for airports. And what you may find shocking is how much money some airports are receiving. News 4 investigator Chris Nagus is following the money trail. He's live at Spirit of St. Louis Airport tonight.
Well, good evening, Steve. Yes, a lot of airports around the country are getting a boost thanks to the federal government. That includes Spirit Airport out here in Chesterfield. They're getting $157,000. Now, that sounds like a good chunk of change, but it is only a small fraction of what some other small airports are getting.
Stay south of the airport, you can exit off to the east.
Just off Interstate 55, 2 hours south of St. Louis, you find the tiny Cape Girardeau Regional Airport.
Traffic on final for 2A.
On Tuesday, this United Express flight from Chicago O'Hare was the only commercial flight to land here. But judging by the whopping $17.5 million awarded to this airport through the CARES Act,
One, a right turn on Alpha.
you might think it's a much bigger operation.
Welcome, Cape.
On Tuesday, Flight 5087 landed with no passengers. The flight is subsidized by you, the taxpayer, through the Essential Air Service program. This empty flight cost taxpayers just shy of $3,000 to operate each direction. The airport manager explains how it works. Even if those flights don't have any passengers, they still fly, correct?
That is correct.
So if it was just the private market, it's unlikely they would do that. But because there's the federal subsidy, they still fly.
That is correct.
We'll now begin the screening process.
After landing empty, the return flight also left with no paying passengers. The only luggage scanned by the airport's 5 TSA agents belonged to another airline employee headed to Chicago for work. No question, coronavirus has drastically reduced passengers here and everywhere. But even in normal times, this airport is small, boarding around 8,000 passengers in 2018. Even the airport manager was caught off guard by the $17.5 million stimulus announcement.
We were just as shocked as anybody that we were awarded this kind of money, and we're excited about it, and we're going to, do the best we can for our airport and make it stretch. But yeah, we were definitely shocked by this money.
Keep in mind, the airport's operating budget is less than $1 million a year, and the airport has no debt. Parking here is free. There's a small restaurant inside. Have you guys lost that much revenue already?
We have not. We haven't lost that much money.
Here in St. Louis, concourses are virtually empty. Passenger traffic is down more than 90%. In normal times, Lambert typically sees 3 times as many passengers in one day as Cape Girardeau sees during an entire year. But Cape Girardeau is getting nearly a third of the amount St. Louis will receive. Is it enough money?
Well, I don't think it's ever enough money because none of us know what the devastation is going to be from this. But we are very grateful, both to our congressmen and senators.
Keep in mind, Lambert's operating budget is around $174 million a year. The $60 million awarded to the airport is enough to keep operations going for a few months. But in Cape Girardeau, they are slated to receive enough money to operate for 17 years. It's federal money, but I did ask the governor his opinion about it.
Federal money's out there and they're going to use it for that, then we might as well be able to utilize it. And then how you divide it up, I'm not sure what the formula was, how they did that.
Turns out the formula is flawed, if you talk to one aviation expert.
It's a placeholder error.
Mark Sixel consults with airlines and airports. He says Cape is far from alone. Small airports around the nation with no debt wound up with big windfalls by accident.
The way it was calculated was that if an airport had no debt and a little bit of cash in the bank, they received an error message on the formulation.
To fix the error message, Sixel says the FAA inserted a numerical placeholder which gave airports like Cape an artificially high score. Long story short, many small airports could get disproportionately more money per passenger than some major airports.
They still have a few days here to fix this problem.
Is it going to get fixed?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Will this be enough money for you guys to build a new terminal?
Oh yeah. We were moving forward with a terminal before this happened, but this certainly has helped us and gave us a few more options and what we can do.
Whether it happens or not might still be up in the air, but consultants like Sixel speculate the FAA had to get the money out fast. Quick decisions have led to oversights, and that could create some turbulence moving forward.
It's a problem. There's a number of airports that are fighting to keep that money.
And it's not just Cape Girardeau, Kearney, Nebraska, Mason City, Iowa, small airports getting around the same amount of money. So I reached out to the FAA. They tell me they are capping these grants at 4 years of an airport's operating expenses. But then when I followed up and said, should airports still expect to get the original amount awarded, I was told yes. So I've reached out to Senator Blunt and Senator Hawley to see their reaction, if this is what the federal money is intended for. Once I get a response, of course, I'll let you know. In the meantime, you can let me know how you feel about this on my Twitter account or my KMOV Facebook page. Reporting live in Chesterfield, Chris Nagus, News 4.